Now, also breaking today, President Obama has signed an executive order authorizing the Pentagon to call up reservists and members of the National Guard to fight Ebola in West Africa if, in fact, they're needed. Here with reaction tonight, Fox News strategic analyst, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. So we got 4,000 people over there. We have members of Congress urging the president in a letter that they can have direct contact with those that have contracted the disease. Now we might send National Guard. Unless we can assure them and their families that they're 100% safe, is this a good idea?
It's a terrible idea. And this is the president's whimsy. This is how he believes our military should be used. Not fighting terrorists, not defending America against violent enemies, but for feel-good missions. I have yet to see, and none of my friends have seen, a serious plan about how our troops are going to do this, how these clinics who's going to staff them. And Sean, you know, the name of the organization is National Guard, not International Guard. The National Guard exists to help us fight our wars and to protect America domestically in terms of catastrophes. But to tear those people away from their jobs, from their families, and expose them to incredible risks, I have to say that this is one time when specifically dealing with the National Guard, I think the president should ask for volunteers and not order them. And I will tell you this for doggone sure. The first time a U.S. service member contracts Ebola in Liberia or elsewhere in West Africa, the administration is not going to accept responsibility. They're going to push the Pentagon to say, well, the soldier didn't follow protocols, or he or she didn't follow orders.
Yeah. Well, the problem for them doing this is the conditions. There's no medical infrastructure, zero. And we're putting them in this environment. Congress is urging them to have direct contact with those that have the disease. I mean, it seems like it is almost a matter of when, not if, some of these soldiers contract this disease. I don't think it's fair to put them in that position.
Well, no, it's certainly not without a thorough plan. And this is an ad hoc measure. The president, Sean, only once in his almost 6 years in office has a president made a swift decision about boots on the ground, and that's this anti-Ebola mission. Now, look, I'm all for countering Ebola. I'm all for helping out. But where are the Swedes, the Austrians, the Germans, the Swiss? You know, they can put up tents. They can put up tents. We're carrying the ball in the war against terror. Where are the allies? What are they doing? What
Colonel,
are they sending? Let
me read this letter that Keith Ellison, Congressman Ellison, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and Karen Bass, they actually put up. I'll put it up on the screen. Consider building, this was to the president, about U.S. troops in Africa to have direct access with those patients that have contracted the disease. Consider building on the current response to the Ebola epidemic by allowing military, medical, and technical personnel to provide direct care and to come into contact with patients in West Africa. That sounds like they're putting them at risk of a death sentence, considering 70% of the people that get the disease die.
Well, I would have to ask, first of all, how many of those members of Congress that signed that letter actually served in the military or have relatives in our military right now. But it just doesn't look like it's been thought through properly. I mean, again, this is a very serious issue. But when the president is giving more priority to rushing our troops, including the National Guard, for God's sakes, to West Africa, and he will not take serious measures. Quarantine measures historically have been the only thing that has any hope of working in a disease like this that we don't understand.
I'm all in favor of helping these countries.
Help them, but close our borders.
And close the borders and put in the travel ban. All right, Colonel, good to see you. Thank you.